A long, long time ago, in a galaxy far away.
Okay, so I don't have a lot of free time right now, and there isn't a lot of footage of The Force Awakens available on the internet for me to incorporate into any vlog just yet. So I wouldn't normally consider doing a vlog post about The Force Awakens so soon. But this film is special for a couple of reasons. For one thing, whether you like it or not, Star Wars is a very important component of our shared cultural heritage. And secondly, I happen to harbor some opinions about this film that I'm not seeing very many people express right now. So in this particular case, I feel it's important to get my opinions out there on the internet before the news cycle moves on. So here you have it, a very fast and dirty review of Star Wars The Force Awakens, full of spoilers, which will uncharacteristically consist of little more than my stupid face. I'll tell you right up front that this film did not blow me away. That's the opinion I'm not hearing very many people express, that they didn't like it very much. What's more, the people who are saying that they didn't like it aren't being very specific as to why. I generally try to avoid numbered scores as much as possible, but in the interest of brevity, I'm going to award The Force Awakens a 5 out of 10. The main reason is because, in terms of story, The Force Awakens is little more than a retread of A New Hope. Other people seem to be excusing this fact, but I can't. What's worse, it's a lame remake of A New Hope. The narrative and emotional beats of The Force Awakens are all out of whack. More on that in a bit. Don't get me wrong, I appreciated the restoration of the classic Star Wars aesthetic, and I loved all the new leads. Rey, Finn, Kylo Ren, Poe Dameron, BB-8, and what's more, I love them all for the same reasons everyone else loves them. But at the risk of sounding unbalanced, I'm not going to dwell too much on all those positives, because those are the things that everyone's already talking about. I'm going to head straight for the negatives, which very few people are talking about, because I believe that these films won't get any better until we start talking about what we didn't like about them. First big complaint, the First Order's agenda wasn't very clear. No clue what the antagonist wanted. I mean, yes, okay, I knew they wanted to destroy the Republic, but why? Consider Supreme Leader Snoke, that all CGI monstrosity that probably should have been played by Andy Serkis in makeup instead of mocap gear, because for some reason he looked even worse than Gollum did. The filmmakers seem to be banking on my just accepting at face value that Snoke is the new big baddie, a figure to be feared and reviled throughout the galaxy. But I for one wanted some context. Why should I fear or hate this guy? Am I really just supposed to accept as a given that he's pure evil? Because archetypes can only take you so far. Darth Vader was doing some pretty terrible things when he was first introduced, so we had reason to hate him right off the bat. Snoke, on the other hand, he just sat in a chair and grumbled malevolently the entire time. Some of you might point out that I should hate him because he ordered the destruction of an entire star system, but that brings me to my second big complaint. The First Order destroyed a whole star system, and I felt nothing. Why not? Two reasons. First of all, I didn't know the fate of an entire solar system was at stake until it suddenly wasn't at stake anymore. So there was no build-up, no anticipation, no tension. We didn't even know Starkiller Base existed until it was already powering up. Secondly, and more importantly, we had no clue what those planets were that got destroyed. We hadn't seen any of them up until that point in the film. Was that a shot of Coruscant getting blown up? Who knows? They didn't bother telling us. According to Wikipedia, it was Hosnian Prime. Ever heard of it? Me neither. So the big evil gesture that's supposed to make me feel something at the midpoint of the film didn't make me feel anything. Which brings me to my third complaint. A third Death Star.
Why? Why? Why?
I don't know. I don't know.
Why?
Why? Who wasn't fired for putting that idea up on the whiteboard? I mean, it's borders on self-parody at this point. Okay, I'm not being as articulate as I usually like to be, but I think I've made my point. Starkiller Base epitomizes the fact that this film is breaking no new narrative ground whatsoever. I mean, call me crazy, but even with their atrocious dialogue, wooden acting, and piss-poor cinematography, the prequels at least took the franchise in interesting new directions in terms of story, and I thought the set pieces were way more inventive too. There, I said it. The prequels did some things better than The Force Awakens. Last big complaint, and it's a big one, is Han Solo's death. Felt unjustified from a writing standpoint. Why did Han need to die? What did it do for the story? Did it prove that Kylo Ren was finally fully committed to the dark side?
You'd like to think that, wouldn't you?
I don't think it did that. No doubt Kylo Ren's dark side, light side allegiance will be revisited in a future film. My gut tells me that they killed off Han simply because they couldn't or wouldn't think of anything else that might elicit an emotional response from the audience at that point in the film. I could be wrong, but that's what my gut's telling me. This is all a damn shame, because I love the idea of a Sith doing his best to resist the temptation of the light side. It's a brilliant reversal of the typical story. But unfortunately, they didn't go anywhere with that idea. They didn't explore it at all. It's just one of a dozen disappointing sequel pimps scattered throughout the film. I know these films are supposed to be serialized. They're supposed to leave you hanging, but only after providing some closure and catharsis, which I don't feel this film did to any significant degree. And I'm not a robot. I say that to preface all the people who are just going to say that I need to shut my brain off and enjoy the movie. I don't think these complaints are too cerebral. I'm only asking the filmmakers to justify the characters' actions so that they make me feel something, without having to cross-reference every other installment in the franchise. Like I said, I didn't hate this film. There were plenty of things to like. Finn's humor, Poe's cocksure pragmatism, Rey's bravery, Kylo Ren vacillating between brooding malevolence and delightfully catty hissy fits, the mostly tasteful callbacks to the original trilogy, and perhaps especially, the sharp reduction in the number of dropped lightsaber reaction shots that plagued the prequels. But this film is currently batting a 94% on Rotten Tomatoes. 94%! For a film that made me cheer maybe twice. I don't know about you, but I saved my 94% approval for better films than this. Granted, Rotten Tomatoes doesn't differentiate between the 94% that thought it was brilliant and the 94% that thought it was at least better than the prequels, but I still think if we're not at least a little more vocal about what we didn't like about this film, we're not going to give Disney any incentive to try harder on the next one. That's all I'm trying to do. Because you can bet your ass I'm going to be first in line for episode 8. So with all that said, see you in 2017. I'd normally end this video with the Star Wars end credit theme, but I'm pretty sure that I'll get it blocked.